The Zotharian ambassadorial ship, Velthori, glided smoothly into Earth's orbit, its sleek silver surface reflecting the glow of the planet below. Inside, Ambassador Xel'va paced nervously. As the first of their kind to make contact with humanity, a species rumored to be both unpredictable and aggressive, Xel'va felt the weight of their mission pressing down like a heavy stone. The Zotharians prided themselves on their diplomatic skills, but the stories they had heard about humans left them uncertain. Xel'va paused to glance out a viewport, taking in the sight of Earth, a vibrant sphere of blues, greens, and whites. It was beautiful, and yet, something about its untamed wildness unsettled them. The ambassador's violet eyes blinked rapidly as they attempted to push away their apprehension. This mission was about peace, about forging a new alliance, not succumbing to irrational fears. Ambassador, the pilot's voice broke through the silence. We are being hailed by the human fleet. Xel'va took a deep breath, trying to calm their racing hearts. Patch it through, they replied, their voice wavering slightly. A holographic display flickered to life in front of them, revealing a human woman in a crisp, dark uniform. She had a commanding presence, with sharp eyes that seemed to scrutinize every detail. This is Admiral Sophia Valdez of the Earth Space Federation. Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Xel'va. We are honored by your visit. Xel'va bowed slightly, a gesture of respect among their people. Thank you, Admiral Valdez. It is an honor to be here on behalf of the Zotharian people. We come in peace and with hopes of establishing a lasting friendship between our species. Valdez nodded, her expression softening slightly. We share those hopes, Ambassador. Our world is eager to learn from yours. If you'll follow our coordinates, we'll guide you to our primary space station, where we have prepared a welcoming ceremony. As the transmission ended, Xel'va felt a momentary surge of relief. Perhaps the stories were wrong. Maybe humans were not the warlike brutes some claimed. The ambassadorial ship followed the human fleet's lead, descending toward a massive structure orbiting Earth, a marvel of human engineering, gleaming with lights and bustling with activity. Upon docking, Xel'va was escorted through the station's corridors, noting the diversity of human faces and uniforms. There was a sense of order, but also a tension that Xel'va couldn't quite place. Eventually, they were led into a large chamber where the welcoming ceremony was to take place. Admiral Valdez stood at the forefront of a delegation of Earth's leaders, smiling warmly as Xel'va approached. Once again, welcome, Ambassador. We hope this marks the beginning of a fruitful relationship between our peoples. As the ceremony proceeded, Xel'va started to relax. The humans were courteous, their words filled with promises of cooperation and mutual respect. But then, suddenly, the ambassador's personal communicator buzzed with a coded Zotharian frequency, one reserved for emergencies. Xel'va discreetly activated the device, and a frantic message filled their mind. The voice of a fellow Zotharian came through, urgent and panicked. Ambassador, the Gral'thak are coming. They've been tracking you, and they're nearly here. Prepare for an attack. A cold wave of fear washed over Xel'va. The Gral'thak were known for their ruthless conquests, destroying anything in their path. If they were indeed coming, this peaceful mission could turn into a nightmare. Xel'va glanced at Admiral Valdez, who was speaking about the future of human-Zotharian relations. The ambassador's mind raced. Should they reveal the threat? Would the humans understand, or would they see it as a Zotharian trick? As the ceremony continued, Xel'va stood frozen, their earlier hopes for a peaceful alliance clouded by the looming threat. Ambassador Xel'va's mind whirled with the gravity of the warning they had just received. The Gral'thak were notorious throughout the galaxy for their brutality and relentless hunger for conquest. To encounter them here, during a mission of peace, was a dire twist of fate. The ambassador's violet eyes darted toward Admiral Valdez, who was still speaking to the gathered assembly, unaware of the imminent danger. I must speak with you, Xel'va whispered urgently to Valdez, interrupting her mid-sentence. The ambassador's voice trembled, betraying their anxiety. The room fell silent as all eyes turned toward them. Valdez's sharp gaze narrowed, but she nodded curtly. "Excuse us," she said to the assembly, gesturing for Xel'va to follow her to a private chamber adjacent to the main hall. The heavy doors slid shut behind them, sealing them off from the crowd. "What's going on?" Valdez demanded, her voice low but edged with authority. Xel'va took a deep breath, trying to steady themselves. "I just received an urgent transmission from my people. The Gral'thak, a hostile species, are approaching this sector. They've been tracking us. I fear they are preparing for an attack." Valdez's face remained calm, but Xel'va could see the gears turning behind her eyes. "How long do we have?" "I don't know," Xel'va replied. "Their fleets are fast and ruthless. It could be hours, or it could be minutes." Without hesitation, Valdez tapped her communicator. "This is Admiral Valdez. Initiate protocol read. All stations to battle readiness. Prepare to launch the fleet." The station's calm atmosphere abruptly shifted. Alarms blared, and the hum of engines vibrated through the walls. Xel'va's anxiety grew as they realized the station was transforming before their eyes. What had been a center for diplomacy was now preparing for war. Valdez led Xel'va to a large viewing window, offering a clear view of space. The ambassador's breath caught in their throat. Emerging from behind the planet, dozens of massive human warships maneuvered into formation, their hulls gleaming with weapons. Xel'va could barely believe the sight. They had underestimated humanity's military capabilities. As the ships moved with practiced precision, Xel'va's initial fear of the Gral'thak was momentarily eclipsed by a new fear. What had they gotten themselves into by coming here? The stories about humanity's fierceness were true. This was a species that had mastered both diplomacy and warfare. Admiral Valdez observed the alien ambassador's wide-eyed reaction. "Our fleet is not just for show, Ambassador. We've had our fair share of conflicts, and we've learned to be ready for anything." Xel'va swallowed hard, struggling to find their voice. I didn't realize your people were so prepared." Valdez offered a tight-lipped smile. "Preparedness is the key to survival. We don't seek conflict, but we don't shy away from it either." A sudden beep interrupted their conversation. A holographic display materialized, showing a cluster of incoming ships at the edge of Earth's sensor range. The Gral'thak fleet had arrived, appearing like a swarm of locusts on the screen. "They're here," Xel'va whispered, their voice barely audible over the alarms. The ambassador's skin prickled with dread. Valdez's eyes hardened. "All ships, this is Admiral Valdez. Engage defensive protocols. We'll show them exactly what they're dealing with." The human fleet accelerated, moving swiftly to intercept the intruders. Xel'va could only watch in awe and fear as the human warships deployed into a complex formation, their weapon systems lighting up the darkness of space. "We don't want to fight, but we will defend ourselves," Valdez said, her tone resolute. "And we will protect our allies. That includes you now, Ambassador." Xel'va felt a mix of relief and fear. The humans were indeed fearsome, but they were also steadfast allies. Perhaps there was hope yet, if humanity's strength could be channeled toward a common cause. The ambassador's communicator buzzed again. This time, the message was clear. "Prepare for combat. The Gral'thak will not hold back." Xel'va took a deep breath, steeling themselves for the battle to come. They were no longer just a diplomat. They were a participant in a struggle for survival alongside humanity. Facing a dark and uncertain future, the vast expanse of space erupted into chaos as the Gral'thak fleet surged forward, their angular, black ships cutting through the void like knives. Xel'va watched in stunned silence from the viewing window of the human command center. The Gral'thak wasted no time. Energy weapons flared to life, sending deadly beams toward Earth's fleet. The station shuddered under the impact of the distant explosions, and the ambassador's heart raced. Admiral Valdez stood calm and focused at the command console, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that mapped the battlefield. "All ships, maintain formation," she commanded. "Focus fire on their lead vessels. We break their command chain first." The human fleet responded with precision. A wall of plasma cannons, railguns, and missile launchers opened fire, releasing a symphony of destruction. Xel'va's eyes widened as the coordinated strike tore through the leading Gral'thak ships, sending debris scattering. The humans fought with a ruthless efficiency that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Xel'va turned to Valdez. "How can your people remain so composed under such pressure?" Valdez glanced at Xel'va, her face a mask of determination. "We've learned to adapt, Ambassador. We know how to fight as one." Her gaze returned to the display. "And we've had to be ready for enemies who don't play by the rules." As if to prove her point, the Gral'thak fleet shifted tactics. A group of smaller, faster ships broke away, circling around to flank the human forces. Xel'va's breath caught. This was a classic Gral'thak maneuver designed to exploit any gaps in their opponent's defenses. Valdez, however, was already ahead of them. "Squadrons Delta and Echo moved to intercept," she ordered. "Don't let them outmaneuver us." The two human squadrons peeled off from the main formation, engines flaring as they surged to meet the Gral'thak's flanking ships head-on. Missiles streaked across the battlefield, and energy shields crackled under the strain of incoming fire. Xel'va marveled at the humans' speed and adaptability. They countered every move with a perfectly timed response. But the Gral'thak were relentless. Their main fleet pressed forward, attempting to break through the center of the human line. For a moment, it seemed they might succeed, their sheer numbers and firepower pushing the humans back. Xel'va's heart sank. Even with their advanced technology, the humans were outnumbered. "Admiral, we can't hold them," one of the human officers called out.
Valdez didn't hesitate.
"Activate the Achilles Protocol," she said calmly. Xel'va's eyes widened. "The Achilles Protocol?" Valdez nodded grimly. The Gral'thak fleet limped away, their ships retreating into the darkness of space, leaving behind a field of debris and the echoes of battle. In the command center, a palpable sense of relief washed over the crew. The humans had triumphed against overwhelming odds, not with overwhelming numbers, but with clever strategy and unyielding resolve. Admiral Valdez turned to Ambassador Xel'va, her face softened but still etched with the remnants of tension. "It's over for now," she said. "But they'll be back, and we need to be ready." Xel'va nodded, still processing the events that had just unfolded. The sight of humanity's fleet, its strength and ingenuity, had been awe-inspiring. But more than that, it was the humans' willingness to defend not just themselves but also a newfound ally that struck a chord deep within the ambassador. "I underestimated your people, Admiral," Xel'va admitted. "I feared your capacity for violence, but now I see it is balanced by your commitment to protect and to forge bonds, even in the face of great danger." Valdez smiled gently. "We've had to learn those lessons the hard way, Ambassador. But we believe in the strength of unity and the hope of peace, even if it means fighting for it." A communication officer interrupted them, his voice cautious. "Admiral, we've received a message from the Gral'thak flagship. They're requesting a ceasefire and open to negotiations for a peace agreement." Valdez exchanged a glance with Xel'va, then nodded. "Open a channel. Let's hear what they have to say." The Gral'thak commander's image flickered onto the screen, his expression a mix of frustration and reluctant respect. "We did not expect such resistance," he admitted. "Your people fight with a determination we have rarely encountered. We are prepared to discuss terms." Valdez nodded. "Understand this. We will not tolerate any aggression toward Earth or our allies. Surrender, and we can begin talks for peace. But know that if you break this trust, we will defend ourselves again." After a tense moment, the Gral'thak commander nodded in agreement. The transmission ended, and a wave of cautious optimism swept through the command center. Xel'va turned to Valdez with a newfound determination. "I believe our peoples have much to learn from each other, Admiral. This battle has shown me that humanity is more than capable of greatness, both in strength and in spirit." Valdez extended her hand, a gesture of solidarity. "Then let's build a future together, Ambassador. One where we fight not against each other but alongside, for a shared peace." Xel'va accepted the handshake, feeling a surge of hope. The battle was over, but a new chapter had begun, one of alliance, understanding, and the promise of a better future for all.